You're listening to Dropping Pins, a story-based learning series from the Okayest Hunter podcast, hosted by Derek Melkor, and aimed at helping you hone your whitetail hunting skills. You'll hear the aha moments when known and unknown proven whitetail killers started consistently putting mature bucks on the ground.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is February 1st, and today I asked for permission from the wife and family if I could sneak away for the day and do some walking, and I came to Iowa. First time ever walking the public lands of Iowa, and I gotta say I'm impressed so far. I just took a video of the public hunting sign right there 30 yards ago. Parked the truck and the truck's right there, rub right there, big rub right there down the hill. It's so far it's looking like what I was hoping for. So actually first time ever walking on the public in Iowa, driven through. It's almost like as soon as you cross the property line, my senses were heightened. I got my spidey senses going off. I was looking in ditches for sheds. I just got super excited. So I'm gonna walk today, scout a few spots, and ideally try to pick up some sheds. But really just trying to figure out a couple of these properties here that we could potentially hunt if we draw a tag in 2 years here. Wow, it's just crazy. Just got in here. Nice big rub. Deer trails in here. I did see one nice buck on the Wisconsin side as I was driving this morning that had both of his antlers on. So I'm sure there's still a lot of deer packing, but like I said, the idea is mostly to kind of scout. And if we pick up sheds, that's just a bonus. So I'm gonna walk today. I'll show you anything cool that I find. Hopefully we get into some cool stuff. So my buddies Corey and Tim are also in Iowa this morning. They're walking a different property. So we're splitting up, try to cover some ground. So I think I'm a little bit further north than they are. So we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna cross this creek and get up on this other side. I got a big loop I wanna do today, so we'll see how it goes. All right, Iowa, baby. Woo! It's a pretty high rub. Just spot a pretty sweet little spot right here. Should be a good cruising spot, I think. There's all sorts of trails that jump down. You can just see the crazy amount of rubs around here. All these have been hit for years. There's a egg field up there. So there's a drainage that comes up from the creek, and it's pretty steep. And all the trails work right past that oak tree. So a pretty sweet cruising spot. I marked the tree. But this is just a sweet, stupid little overlooked spot, not far from the parking lot at all. But these are some big rubs. So marked one potential tree stand already. So you can see by the amount of rubs in here, I would assume that the bucks are in here hard in the pre-rut. Now the ag field was beans, which is gonna push them into the woodlots a little bit more, just because it's not as much cover. So that could be why, there's a lot of sign right here. Next year, if it's corn, when the corn is standing, I still think this grassy area, field's right there, I still think this grassy area with all the cedars would make a good staging area either way. If they're coming up out of the woods, staging to go to the fields, or coming out of the corn, they might stage in here and check some scrapes. A couple big giant scrapes that I found back there. So pretty promising. So far, I haven't been able to stand in any spot and not see an abundance of deer sign. So this is super cool. I'm jacked. Iowa public land, baby. All right, I just gotta find me a shed. Big ass bed right here. Definitely a good shed spot with this field being right here. You see this cut bean field. But there's just tons and tons of night beds in this grass where they go out into the field, potentially feed on any beans that are left over, and then they come back in this grass, they lay down and chew their cud. So good spot to look for sheds, where they come in here, lay down, chew their cud, mill around in the grass. That's what these beds are. Really fresh sign in here. Looks like a lot of deer are doing that, so I'm gonna bomb around here and keep making my way south, see if I can't get to the actual good spots that I marked, because this was not a spot at all that I marked on the map. Just cut in, walked to a spot I didn't think anybody else would be walking to head back there, and lots of sign. Well, I was continuing my walk down that field edge, which is right behind me, and I just cut in to check out these oaks. There's some nice trails through here, and I came closer to this big giant white oak, and I bumped a deer off this little bitty knob just below the top of the hill here. And as soon as I poked my head over to get a better look, just found an absolute giant rub. So I'm wondering if that was a buck. It did not have antlers, so let's hope there's some antlers laying in a bed here. But this rub's pretty awesome. It's off the beaten path a little bit, surrounded by some white oaks here. Check that out. Now that deer kicked from right here. That deer jumped from this bed right here, right next to this giant rub. So definitely gonna mark that one on Spartan Forge. Pretty good rub line right from here, going back up the hill. I'm gonna mark this, take a quick walk around, and then continue my journey. I'm just up above the creek here. It's right below these white oaks. So I'm sure if there's acorns falling, which it doesn't look like there was any on the ground this year, so maybe this next year. Awesome early season spot. Bedded just below the hill. Ag is right above, that'll be corn. So if a guy could get right above there and let this deer feed up through the acorns, come up to the top, probably be a decent spot. See if we can't find these antlers. All right, I'm standing right where all these big rubs are. I just took a video. There's a bed over by this cedar, probably a night bed, but there are a series of rubs in here that are about shin height, chest, not to the center, but there's nicks. The one back there's got nicks up to my eye. So I'm not super tall, but I know that that's tall enough. Definitely a good buck. I went down in that bed down there. It looks really good. It kind of levels out to a little red oak flat, and then this gully kind of peters out. So I'm really excited to see what it looks like up here. But man, everything looks awesome so far. I'm just counting down the seconds till we walk up on a big shed antler. I'm imagining there'll be something out in this grass if the deer around here have started to drop, which I'm sure a few of them did. But I think I'm probably just gonna just look and see all these rubs behind me. It's just awesome. This one's got a cool little tree branch rub, diagonal rubs all over here. There's another big one over there, and you can see these deer obviously use this area forever. I mean, ag is right there. I'm just hoping to pop around one of these cedars and find a night bed with a nice big old shed laying in it. That's the hope. So I'm actually spending way more time. I'm supposed to be just jetting straight south to get to the good area, but you don't pass up deer to find deer. So I'm spending some time walking this. And I think it's time well spent. Never a bad sign when I'm still in that same area. I'm just a little bit further south. There's a big rub there, big historical rub. Whole bunch of trails come through this little point. And when I was back over here, you can see those big white oaks. That bed is just down the hill below those. So when I came up the hill and I saw all the rubs coming off that point, I saw this oak tree from a distance that's kind of stuck out here. And I thought, oh man, that oak tree would be good. And there's a huge runway coming right underneath. Check this out. Scrape on the ground, but this is what gets me excited. Look at this. All of these, and this is an oak. And you guys who've ever tried to rip off an oak branch that's been in your way, they don't tear easy. And this is destroyed. Right underneath the tree. That from a distance I was thinking, oh man, that tree could work. Because from here, you've got some great shooting out to this opening. And there's just enough fingers of woods that it's got some cover. Scrape here. That's all busted up and chewed up. Scrape on this side. Little rub, and then it looks like, yep, they drop down this finger right here. There's a great big trail coming down into these oaks. So I am definitely marking that tree because that tree looks freaking awesome. Oh, another huge scrape here. Holy shit. Look at that scrape. Look at this looking branch. This is unbelievable. I mean, this branch is bigger than my thumb and it's just worn. You can see all these branches broken. Even up here, these are all twisted off. And there's that tree I liked right there. You can see this grass hillside comes down to this big draw. So this trail kind of comes up the finger, cuts across the easy way. Man. Oh, another big scrape here. Holy shit. This spot just keeps getting cooler and cooler. Look at this. That's all snapped off, broken. Oh yeah. We're gonna mark this spot for sure. Man, this is fun. I love this shit. This is cool. All right, well, it's been a little while since I flipped on the video. I'm just up above the big creek bottom. I crossed from the big ridge over there, came down to the bottom, worked this bottom edge, and now I just came up, and I'm just standing up on top of this rock outcropping, and there's a really good cluster of doe beds all over in here. Doe poop and beds all over. And as I'm standing up here, I am seeing some pretty good rubs. There's some giant trails at the bottom, huge rubs, giant scrape down here. But on this side hill, there's actually a pretty decent number of rubs working along here. So I think this spot sets up pretty freaking awesome. This is west right here. North, this ridge was running north and south. With the west wind, I think these bucks will cruise on this ridge. And there's a crossing where this ridge dumps down into a drainage, goes up to another north-facing ridge. And obviously in that little bottom, there's just crazy amount of giant, beat trails that cross through there. So I think if a guy got down there and you had a good west wind blowing out into the bottom, I think you could catch bucks cruising these ridges for these does. So I marked a tree. There's no good trees, but that's excellent because other people aren't going to be setting up there either. So I'm going to mark this doe bedding area, and then I'm going to work this point. It looks really good up here, so I'm really hoping to find a shed. But the sign has not disappointed. It's been absolutely awesome. Super, super cool. So see what we find. Well, just found a really good example of a nice buck bed set up on a side hill here. Up on top, it's all cedars. And in those cedars, it's pretty wide open. I mean, all the cedars are rubbed up. There's tons of trails beat down through there. So I dropped down the ridge and got right on this edge where the cedars meet the hardwood. And down below me is a big bottom. I've been zigzagging through this edge, and I saw this area of the hill had a bunch of blowdowns. So I immediately went toward those blowdowns thinking that a buck might use that as cover to bed, and got down here. And there's a bunch of smaller rubs. You can see that one's all twisted off right there and broken. A bunch of smaller rubs around here, but I didn't see anything big from this year. But the bed is right here. It's got an old rub in it, and then as you exit out this way, there's an old rub there, Rub there, rub there, rub there. And he's got a bunch of old rubs coming out here. So a buck was definitely using this at some point. You can see there's a couple of trails that drop down out of those cedars. So I'm gonna mark that bed, and if there is acorns dropping in the bottom here, I could definitely see a buck bedding right at the edge of the cedars. Perfect back cover, and dropping down into that bottom for some acorns in the evening. So I'm gonna mark that bed, and after I finish this side hill, I'm gonna work this bottom and up that opposing ridge and see what's there. But I just thought I'd flip the camera on and show you guys that bed right there. So, all right, I'm about 80 or 90 yards from that other buck bed that I flipped my camera on. Same basic elevation line, straight that way to the west. I'm working my way along, cedars on top, hardwood on the bottom. And I just came across a really big trail here that comes down. There seems to be a couple of them all heading down right here. There's another great big one that comes down the side hill. And they're all peeling down, so there must be a crossing. This ditch in the bottom is getting really, really steep as we come to the head here. So there must be a crossing down here, which is a good thing to know. But right up ahead here, I see some more blowdowns, and I see a giant rub. So we're gonna go take a look, see if there's a bed out on this point. Another giant rub up there. Yep, somebody was definitely using this. Big trail here. Look at that. Pretty sweet. He's just got that shredded. That tree has been rubbed before too. He might be laying out on this little knob watching that crossing. All those trails that I just saw were all crossing down there. So maybe it could be a rut bed. Looks like this is the bed right here. That big rub up there. He's bedding right in this blowdown. This is the bed. He's got, that branch is not only rubbed, but he's actually like twisted it and probably broke it a little bit. And it's rubbed up there, pretty high. Obviously a big buck, just judging by the other rubs. Looks like another bed right over there. Definitely gonna mark this spot. Somebody was using this bed. Wish there was a big shed in it, but I'll take a look around, see what I can find. Really cool find here on the side hill. Looks like another bed right down there on that knob, like I was saying. Just got finished with my snack. About 60 yards that way. I came up into this cut. As you can see, I'm on a trail leading back into this cut. It's all briars and grass. It's nasty. And I just saw something I really wanted to see. Check this out. This is on the exit trail. Old rub, new rub. And look how high these gouges are. There's gouges all the way around. Nice and high. So that tells me that there should be a good buck bed somewhere back in here. It's kind of nice. It's on a steep little hillside, and it's all an old cut. I would not be surprised to find some older sheds in here from when they cut this earlier. But I'll take a peek around and show you guys what I find. Man, this is so cool. This reminds me of back home when you get into these cuts, because we've got a lot of cuts in northern Wisconsin, and this one is shaping up to look pretty good. This is looking down the exit trail, and you guys can see, as expected, most of these poplar trees are all rubbed up from old rubs, and this is heading up the hill into the cut. I thought this was a bed right here, but there's no hair in it, so I think it's just a little open spot where they hang out on their way. But lots and lots of rubs in here. Man, it would be sweet to find a shed in here. Not seeing a ton of fresh ones. So I don't know if they're slowly using this less and less as it gets older. But there's definitely some good old rubs in here. I'm gonna explore it anyway. Might as well check it out. For right now, it's pretty easy walking. Really want to find an antler. Woo! Well, no sheds yet, but definitely a big bed backed right up against this stuff. I mean, it's huge. A lot of coyote poop in here too. So I don't know if they're coming in here trying to get deer out of here or what. But yeah, there's definitely some old rubs around here. This is the biggest bed I found so far. Doesn't have anything fresh as far as rubs in it. But I just don't know. It might be too hard for these deer to exit. I mean, this stuff's really nasty. So if these deer can't exit well, they probably don't want to spend too much time in here. Just because the amount of coyote crap that's in here. I feel like a big buck with a big rack is pretty safe in here. But if he had to get out, this stuff is so grown up now that probably makes it a little bit more of a challenge. And no doubt they would just blitz through here, no problem. But maybe they've shifted and they're betting more on the edge of it. I'll have to check. What is that? Something white over here. Looks like it could be a skull. It definitely makes sense that there would be some dead deer back in here. This is the kind of place they would go. And they're injured and they want to get away. Nope, just some mold growing on a log. All right, I gotta get through here. Have you ever found an apple tree in the middle of a clear cut? Because I just did. I just came out of this tangle. It's all briars and honeysuckle. Popped out on the big trail here. Saw the rub. Apple tree right here. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Lots of old rubs around here. A couple of new ones. This one, pretty good one here. As you can see here, there's tons of old rubs coming down past this apple tree. Looks like another one up ahead. So really surprised I haven't been able to pick up a shed in these clear cuts. I mean, it's growing up super thick. There's lots of deer beds in them. There's sign all around. I would have thought there would have been some sheds in here, but maybe I just haven't hit the pocket yet. All right, well, still February 1st. It's about 2 in the afternoon. I am at a new public property. I wrapped up the Scout at the other one, made a big giant loop. I didn't do any talking to the camera, but I ended up finding a really nice, just a small little drainage that comes out. It's actually almost where 2 drainages meet, but basically a small drainage, and that side hill that comes off above the drainage has some nice cedars, some oaks, really nice little bedding ridge. And that little bottom, the drainage just had probably a dozen really just lit up scrapes. The licking branches were absolutely mangled and destroyed. Looked really good. And right above that that drainage, I had found a buck bed that had a bunch of scrapes around it too, and some rubs. So I marked some spots. I think I marked probably 9, I think, potential stand locations for all sorts of different winds spread all throughout the property. And I marked them on Spartan Forge, and in the description of the pin, I wrote what wind direction would work best, how to set up, what tree. So that way, if I end up getting a tag in 2 years and I don't come back between now and then, I'm just scouting other properties, I've got all that information saved. So pretty sweet. I drove just a little ways, maybe 10 minutes down the road, 15 minutes down the road, and I'm on a much hillier property. So I already dropped down off that big ridge. I'm in the bottom right now. I'm basically just taking the bottom across, and then I've got some ridges that I want to get up and go scout. Probably shouldn't have started with the flatter one and then gone to this hilly one second, because I'm not gonna lie, my legs are they're about half a tank right now, maybe a little less. They're not feeling too full of energy. I just slammed an energy drink. I did 8.3 miles in just under 5.5 hours at the first property. So I was moving pretty good. I did not find any sheds, but lots and lots of good sign for rut and early season. So as I cruise through this bottom, I'm kind of keeping my eyes open for the potential shed, but I don't really expect there to be one here. Most of the fields are up top, so I'm kind of expecting the deer to bed on the ridges, the points, and then just work up to the fields. But I'm taking this because it's easy, and you just never know where you're gonna find a shed. So I'm looking. Oh, here's a big scrape in the bottom here. I'll show you guys while I got this on. Scrape right here. Looking branches broke. And then right there, it's another scrape. Looking branches all tore up. Now these deer sure make some sign down here. It's a lot of fun walking this. I'm really enjoying myself. Big thanks to the wife for letting me get out of the house. So, love you, babe. Go hunt the hills, they said. It'll be awesome. The hills are awesome. You'll love it. I should have prepared better. Where's that stair stepper? Whew. The legs are burning. It's a deep burn. Crank it up high, Reggie. I want to burn.
Turn it up high, Reggie. I want to burn.
Sorry to scare you, big guy. Did I scare you? How cool is that? He's just chilling in that little hole. Big rock outcropping. I just came through this gap. I was watching for mountain lions, but that dude is so cool. Well, found a dead buck. I just came off of a huge ridge behind me. I came down to this crossing and across this creek here. And as you can see right there, found a dead one. Nice young buck. Got 8-pointer. One's too bad. His tines look awfully sharp. What that tends to mean when you see points that are super duper sharp like this, and the beadwork down the bases is really sharp. There's no roundedness to them. It probably means he died in velvet, I would guess. Maybe an EHD buck. I don't know. I don't know if EHD was in this area, but from what I've seen, they go to water. He's in the water, so that's too bad. First buck I've seen today. I've jumped lots of does. I've not found a shed. I haven't seen a buck, but we're on to one now. Hey, we're doing pretty good. I just came across that river right over here off that big ridge behind there, and that's where I found that dead buck. I just spotted a shed. I was literally walking over. The shed is laying right there. I was walking over to mark this tree right here. I want to mark that tree. I think it'd be great to hunt right there. I've got a big point right here coming down and a big point right here, and there's a drainage in between. And I mean, the bottoms are always full of sign, but how these two bottoms connect and the amount of scrapes in here, there's just deer trails. That shed is laying right over here. But the deer trails coming through are really nice, and there's some really good scrapes here. So obviously these bucks come off of one ridge. Right here's some scrapes. All the licking branches are all busted off. Another big scrape over here. Another big scrape right there. And there's some good rubs coming off the side hill right here. And a big trail that obviously dumps down into the drainage right here. And then with that other trail crossing the creek, man, I think with this cedar in front, that tree right there would be perfect. So I was just gonna mark that sucker, and I found the shed. I literally took out I can see the shed from here. It's right on that trail, right over there. But I was gonna mark it in my phone. Took my phone out and, hey, there's a shed. First shed of the day, yes. So that's pretty sweet. But yeah, I'm gonna mark this tree. This is kind of the far back corner, and it doesn't seem like many people are back here, but here's the tree I'm talking about. Right where it splits, I think would be a great spot to hunt. And then you got, this is big creek bottom behind you. If you can get a wind that's blowing straight down the drainage, that would be from the west, a west wind, I think these deer would cruise these ridges and come down right in between. So I'm gonna mark this tree, I'm gonna go pick up the shed. All right, shed right here. It's crazy that it's so fresh and bloody. The dang squirrels already got to it. But yeah, that's about the freshest pedicle or bloody base that I've ever found. That's, ooh, it's still wet. No, I'm just kidding. It's a pretty sweet little buck though. Probably a nice 2-year-old. Tine's a little chewed, but good brow tine on him. I see there's a giant scrape about 8 yards that way. I just picked that tree right next to the cedar back here. You can probably see it's right in front. It's this one right here. I just picked that tree as a stand location because this bottom looks really good. And I'm gonna see if I can find any more. Sweet find though. Yeah. Shed number 1. Well, I was just coming up the ridge from the bottom there. I walked that bottom where I found this shed and was looking for the other side and didn't see anything down there. Some good trails, but I think I just walked up on another shed. I think it's the left side, so it's not the match. It looks a little smaller, but I was coming up that trail right there, and there's some rubs around. There's a couple rubs here and there. There's one over there, and right there I can see the curve of a beam. Doesn't look like a big one, but count it. We'll count it. It's a fresh one. Yeah, quite a few rubs over there. It's like a little 3-point. Cool. Heck yeah, that's 2 sheds. I'm gonna work my way on the side hill, eventually get up to the top, and then loop back down to that bottom where I picked my tree out. So I'll pick this up and keep her moving. All right, shed number 2. There we go. Nice little 3-point. This one's got a little blood on it too. Not as much as the other one, but both left sides. 1.5-er, 2.5-er. Nice and fresh. Heck yeah, 2 sheds, that's a pretty good day. It's very possible that we run into a few more on this ridge. Seems to be where a little bachelor group is hanging out. This one was just at the point of the ridge, or at the point of the, yeah, the point of the ridge down here. And this one's on the side hill, so we'll see if we can find some more. 2 sheds, babe. Well, I'm pooped. That is gonna wrap up. That's gonna wrap up my day of scouting. It's starting to get dark, and I'm climbing a freaking mountain. Parked at the top. That was dumb. That was really dumb. Now I gotta go up. Yeah, I'm pretty pooped. My ankles and my toes are saying no more. So I got a little ways to go yet. a couple 100 yards, and then I'm back to the car and driving home. Pretty good day. 1 dead buck and 2 sheds. Found lots of good spots. I have never in my life seen scrapes like I've seen today. These scrapes down here they're on another level. These deer are mad. They like their scrapes. First property I was on, tons of big rubs. This property, rubs, but nothing too big. But I still think there's some good ones around here. So I'm glad I came. Yeah, look at that. This is hill country. Thanks for watching, and we're hoping to do some more scouting videos soon. So thanks guys, have a good one.